Yeah. Yeah, well, I haven't wiped properly. I'll have to give it a. Have you got. I got some wet wipes. Well, just put some in there in the bottom drawer. Hi, I'm Michael O'Hare, ex-CEO, philanthropist, all-round life coach, and the author and founder of the worldwide acclaimed Best in Business seminar series. Welcome to Enter the Dojo of Business. Hiya! I am the Grand Master of Management. Tune in every Sunday to hear my wise wisdom on how to succeed in the world of business. Here every Sunday at 8 o'clock, and you may wish to subscribe to my YouTube channel to receive the latest updates on my new videos. Indeed, if you click the bell icon, apparently you'll receive an email update or some kind of notification. And of course, if you think others could have, in fact, benefit from the Buddha of business, as a wise man in Kathmandu once told me, then get them to join us. Perhaps you could badge it up as a mandatory training course for them. Anyway, I've been asked some questions recently. Why do I do this? In fact, last week, a rising star junior employee said, Michael, why do you do this? You're exceptionally well off. You've got an extensive property portfolio and multiple pension funds. You don't need to do this. You've got a diverse portfolio of assets, mainly in gentlemen's lingerie stock. I said, no, I do. Do you believe in a world where every human being is entitled to a successful career? Even small orphan children? I do. Do you believe in a world where every human being is entitled to feel the warm, succulent feeling of somebody kissing their ass? I do. Do you believe that everyone deserves the right for their idea to be heard, even by deaf people? I do. Do you believe that every single human being deserves to treat their junior employees as they please? I do. And do you believe that every human being is entitled to a second hearing at an HR tribunal for allegedly sexually haranguing their team secretary? I definitely do. The best in business believes that every human being is entitled to a successful career, and the best in business wants to help you, although I accept no liability for your own incompetence and failure to be successful. So that is the reason why I do it. And hopefully that answers a few questions of you. Why do I waste my Sunday evening sat listening to this wise old fool? So my first email this week is from Chin Yo Peeps from Hong Kong Island. He says, Dear Michael O'Hare, thank you. If you please, my manager likes to have 2-hour meetings every day when I and my colleagues think only 30 minutes is sufficient. Not only that, no. He likes to use up the full 2 hours every time, even when there is not very much to say, with boring stories of what he's been up to at the weekend. Why does he do this? And can he change? Thank you, and thank you. Ms. Yo Peeps, I'm assuming you're a millennial with a name like that. Maybe you have an emoticon after your name. You should be very grateful that your manager gives you even 5 minutes. I presume he, has much bigger fish to fry. They're a manager. They're doing manager things. If anything, you should be asking for 3 or 4 hours of their time. He's doing it for you. He's obviously a great people manager. Now, you say he's full of boring stories. Well, let me say one word. Wrong. Wrong. These are not boring stories. These are obviously very subtextual management lessons that you should be paying attention to and listening very carefully. Let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about. If he says, I went out in the backyard this weekend and chopped some wood, that really means I proactively made some key executive decisions. If he says, I'm going to be trying on some new suspenders this week, it means I'm revising our company's diversity and inclusion policy. If he says, my wife went out this weekend and maxed out our platinum Amex card, it simply means there's no budget for the Christmas party this year. And finally, if he says, next week I'll clean the house and take the garbage out, it means I'll be assessing our organizational hierarchy and firing some poor performing employees. So, Chin Yo Peeps, there's obviously a double barreled Mandarin name there. More time being with the boss means more time becoming the boss. So, by that, I don't mean of an organized syndicated crime family like the mafia. So, pay attention. Good. Got some people in this evening. I've got some people here. I've got a girl into a bit of trouble. The problem is, Michael, she's my boss. Oh, that sounds like a major. I shouldn't be laughing at that. I apologize. Okay, the next message is from a Facebook message from Vivian Langley in Columbus, Ohio. She says, hi, Michael. I am the deputy manager of a small, family-run book supplier specializing in musty books. Now, she has sent some musty books through, and these are very, very heavily musty scented. So thank you, Vivian. She's in a particular niche in this part of the world. But she says her problem is, I have tried different ways to motivate my employees, but I am struggling. One of them mentioned that it would be a good idea to have a radio playing in the office. Oh, good Lord. I'm not sure about it, to be honest, but what does the best in business think? Well, Vivian, you are absolutely right. What is this? Is it a blue-collar workshop? Radios are the reserve of manual laborers, painters, decorators, handymen. They are not for the well-paid, highly skilled, white-collar populace. But you may find them at the San Diego Lexus car hire kiosk manned by Jake, just off Chula Vista Way. He likes to play a radio there. Very distracting when I'm trying to read the terms and conditions for car hire. But, Vivian, it is okay to have a television in the office so long as it's playing Bloomberg Big Business TV, my friend Michael, or Al Jazeera Business 24, but not a radio playing trashy love hits from a commercial radio station. However, the exception is if you have your own office. You can play what you want. My top 3 playlists are Phil Collins' classics, Easy Lover on repeat. I do like late 80s, early 90s discotheque music, Hadaway, Culture Beats, and I also just like playing Jimmy Jameson Baywatch on loop for hours and pretending I'm running on a beach. But in fact, I'm running on a treadmill in my office. So stick to your guns, Vivian. Remember, video killed the radio star. Take what you will from that. Okay, we have a message from Horrible Boy. What is the right level of late to be to a meeting if your goal is to be noticed? Very, very good question. You should never be late to a meeting with anybody more senior than you. But if you want to attend a meeting with anybody of your peers or more junior staff, you should definitely be late. And when I mean late, I do mean late. And when you turn up, never apologize. Make sure you are deliberately late, 10, 15 minutes. That way people know that you weren't just slipping time and rushing. You were taking your time. And you should oodle in. Never apologize. Put your papers down and say, what have we decided? And that is the end. So hopefully that helps, Horrible Boy, but make sure you do ascertain beforehand the seniority in the room. Next question is, it's an email from Mr. J. Shipley from Cheltenham in the United Kingdom. Thank you. He says, hi, Michael from sunny England. At the moment, many UK workers have been put into furlough. I've been doing some background reading and have discovered that furlough is an old German collective noun for the lazy. Is this true? And have you furloughed any of your staff? Well, I've been doing some reading too. Part of the musty book collection sent in from Vivian earlier. And you're very right, Jay Shipley. It is an old 10th century Germanic word, die Verlo. It was used by feudal medieval landowners in provincial Germany at the time, and is a term that was commonly used to very lower performing farmhands. Those who would typically shy away from doing manually intensive work, they'd probably be caught gossiping behind the cattle shed. But they were probably people who called in sick. Let's be honest. People, they called in sick when it was their turn to muck out the stables, fix the combine harvesters, or indeed simply to milk the bull. Every year after harvest, the German feudal lord would remove the furlough, is the term that was used, to make way for fresh, new, and feisty farmhands, which of course is where the word turnover comes from. Das Turnover, which quite literally means the turn over. And your second part of the question is, have I furloughed any staff? Well, yes, the Best of Business has done this in true Amish style. Post the harvest, when we announce our annual results, I too conduct an annual furlough. I remove the lowest performing 50%, which last year was quite challenging physically because we only have one employee in London. So thank you, Jay Shipley. Lovely to have a historical question on Best in Business. Please send more of those for you. I'm sure we can look some of those answers up. Okay, a question in from good evening, Mr. O'Hare. What do you personally think your greatest achievement was in business? Well, I've talked about some of my deals before. Maybe I would just say, quite simply, having a back sack and crack attended to by Hang Sung Lee, who won the Nobel Prize from whatever country she's now looking after. Of course, she's also sadly up for war crimes at The Hague, but she does give excellent waxing. So if you're stuck in a cell in the Netherlands with Hang Sung Lee, then maybe you want to request a back sack and crack. She was lovely. Very soft hands too. The next question is a Twitter message from @LudeIsMyMood. Well, we got an opposite question here. Yo, Michael. Yeah. It would be good to know, have you ever messed up a business deal? Well, yes. Hard to believe. Before I became the professor of profitability, whilst I was learning my trade, it was back in, well, there are two examples. The first example, back in 1973, I financed an entire 500-ton shipment of soft foam bricks. It should have gone to a circus in Budapest, but sadly it was sent to a building site in Bucharest. So what happened? That sadly wasn't the disaster. The disaster was for some reason, the building contractors decided they were going to use the soft foam bricks to build an entire shopping mall. The day after the mall opened, there was torrential rain. As you can imagine, those foam soft bricks absorbed all the water and were soaking up the rain, and unfortunately the entire building collapsed under the super sponge building. It killed 25 people. Most of them were browsers. They weren't proper shoppers, I've been told. So it may have been soft foam bricks, but it was indeed 500 tons of soft foam bricks. The other example is, as you very well know, you may have read my website, bestinbusiness.org, several times, and you'll be not surprised to know that I am a wine enthusiast. So a few years back, I conducted a long-dated FX swab, not a swab. That was another story I'll tell you about another time. A long-dated FX swap for a legendary French winemaker, Jim Bergerac. He was also a very well-known open marriage polygamist. The deal was about to complete, and as we were just about to get notification of the deal going through, we decided to celebrate, and he offered me a Shiraz to celebrate. Unfortunately, I declined because the bouquet has a rather bad taste in the back of my mouth and leaves me with rather bad breath. Needless to say, he went mental and cancelled the deal immediately. It turned out later that Shiraz was the name of his second wife, who was slightly pot-bellied, and so actually in reality I was right to turn her down. So yes, I have messed up in the past, but not anymore, which is why I am the best in business. We have a question come through. Hey Michael, I'm a business owner, and one of my assistants went missing. Should I continue to look for him, or should I hire a new one? Very simple answer: hire a new one. Ain't your concern. Just do check under the pavement, the paving in the shop, because I have once found an employee who went missing, and the liability on the insurance is extraordinary. But aside from that, yep, hire a new one. Say no more. You've probably even forgotten their name. Okay, we have an Instagram message from Mike's Flaps and Flanges Ironmongery Suppliers, Crescent Valley, Nevada. He says, "Hi, Mike. Great name, by the way." Oh, yeah. We have the same name, but actually mine's Michael. We employ 5 people in our small sales office. They are all clean living and reliable workers, except one who is a smoker. About 15 times a day, I find them outside puffing away while tapping on their cell phone. All this time adds up. Time that I am paying for. Oh, yeah, I hear you there. I would welcome your views. Should smokers have their pay docked? P.S. If you know anyone in Nevada with rusty flaps, send them my way. Mike. Well, thanks, Mike. Simply, yes, smokers should have their pay docked. You want to be the best in business? Staff need to be at the desk at all times. Did you know that smokers spend 2,534% more time outside the office than non-smokers? That is a fact. That came from the Trump administration, so it's obviously from the government. It's very true. Now, what has, of course, happened as a result of that is that some of the low-performing non-smokers have cottoned onto this. They've picked up smoking simply to avoid work. But at Best in Business, we are trialing some new advanced AI. So anyone who says, "Oh, Michael, you're a bit of an old duffer, you don't know about technology," well, I do. Last year, we got all our smoking employees, and by that I mean puffers, not smoking hot. Mind you, there are a couple, but if you were to look at their lungs, you'd think otherwise. We took these smoking employees and put electrodes on their head. And these electrodes were designed to detect craving. And every single time they thought about having a smoke, we docked them some pay. So we were training them for the longer term, helping them out to be the best in business. There's also a model where you can adapt the electrodes to give an electric shock too. And I know some people who are working with the Saudi government on that one. So that is that. We have got through, oh, good Lord, we've run over time, but I see your messages in here. I will come back to you on some of these. But as always, thank you very much for joining us. As I said, this runs every Sunday, 8 o'clock. Subscribe to the sound like my stepbrother we've disowned. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, and keep sending your questions in. These ones here, I'm going to take them because I believe that every human being is entitled to successful career progression. 2 ways we can do this. We can share the Best in Business videos. You can do it online, or you can do it WhatsApp. You can, harangue people with it. Get others to join us as well. And you could badge this up as possibly, as I said before, an HR loop that you need someone to step through before you legitimately fire them. So let's do our part for humanity and career progression. And I'll see you same time next week for the Best in Business. Enter the Dojo of Business. Hiya!